Hello everybody, it's Vertical Sandwich. Welcome back to Let's Play Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal. I'm telling stories about traveling. I think I want to go this way. Whoa. How is there always one of these guys behind me? So one of the reasons I took the job I took out of college was that it would allow me to kind of travel on someone else's dime, and that's true. I mean, you know, there are a lot of kind of subtracting seasonal labor careers you can get into. I mean, they exist, and you will in fact be allowed to travel on somebody else's dime. So that being said, I mean, you know, there is an adventure to that, right? I mean, at some point you'll learn that kind of adventure is a thing that's more about you than it is about location. You can travel quite a bit of America, and what you'll find, and I can guarantee this, is what you'll find is most small towns are the same, most medium-sized towns are the same, and most big towns are the same. Big towns tend to have the most variety, because they're bigger, right? But, that being said, a small town in Wisconsin is not greatly different than a small town in Wyoming. But, when I was a kid, my father would tell me these stories about hitchhiking around the country with his brother after his brother got out of the Navy. And it just filled me with this kind of idea, like this, you know, this idea of kind of romance and adventure, and just, you know, seeing the world kind of on my own terms. I really liked it as an idea. And so finding out that I could do that, and not have to do things, you know, like not have to be a hobo, essentially, really seemed smart. It seemed like adventure for, you know, somebody using their head instead of a ridiculous young kid. I'm not saying you shouldn't go ride the rails if you want. If you think that's your calling. It just wasn't for me. Now, I'm tired of hearing this noise these guys make. That same noise every time. Oh man, these guys are everywhere. And I know this is their neighborhood and stuff. Now that being said, at one point when I was, even before this happened, like, I dropped out of college. I failed out of college, who am I kidding? I failed out of college when I was still, an active kind of alcoholic and addict. And again, I've been sober for a long time now, but at one point I was not. And my life was kind of a mess. And I failed out of college. Not because of a lack of ability. I clearly could have done very well in college my first time around. I just, I was on my own for the first time, and I think a lot of young people fall into this trap. Nobody's making you go to class. Nobody's making you do the things you need to do. So I stopped doing them. And, you know, and I failed. And I ended up getting a job at a grocery store, right? And at one point, I had, like, paid vacation time and a bunch of money. And I was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this giant road trip. And so I did. And I decided to drive to Las Vegas. From Wisconsin. I live in Wisconsin. So it's a hike. And sleep in my car the whole way and all this stuff. You know, real romance and adventure. Just a real idiot move is what it was. By the way, what's up here? I haven't really gone up here. Oh man, there's another level above this, and there's a hookshot target. So, I decided to drive to Vegas. And a lot of stuff happened on that trip. Like, a lot of stuff. A ton of stuff. Some things that happened were... Wait a minute! I'm trying to think, was that when I stayed in Lehman, Colorado? I don't think so. Anyway, so a lot of things happened on that trip. The story that Hey Ryan Let's Play loves about the guy thinking I was a male prostitute trying to pick me up. That happened on that trip. And, but one of the things that happened, and this is one of those things, there are periods in everybody's life, right? After which you cannot be the same. It's just a thing. It is just a fact of being a human being, is that some experiences and lessons are so powerful that they fundamentally change the way you see the world. The death of my father. Yeah, you know, things like... Wait, is this one of those guys? No, it's just stuff? Okay. You know, what an alcoholic or an addict would refer to as their bottom. Like rock bottom. You know, after that, you really can't. You fundamentally view the world like... It's not that you view the world as a different place. You just see it differently because you're a different person. And that's not... I don't think that that's a metaphor. You know, I don't think it's just it's a handy way to flippantly describe. It's just like a deep and profound spiritual thing that changes you. And one of those was... I had gone to, it was after the Vegas story. And I had gone to Vegas and I had hung around in Vegas, and when I left I was reasonably drunk. It was legal for me to drink. I should not have been drinking and driving. Nobody is gonna argue that. But I had a real problem. And I drove until I could find a place to park. And the place I found to park was the Lake Mead Visitor Center. And so it's like it's a park, it's the southern tip of the Great Canyon or whatever. And I'm like, well, here's this, this big parking lot and it's empty. Okay, fair enough. I actually don't know if I want to go down there or not. Yeah, maybe I do. So I park in the Lake Mead Visitor Center. And it's hot. It's unbearably hot. It's the middle of the night. It's like 3 in the morning. And it's like living inside of an oven. It's so bad. Because it's, It's the desert, and it was July or something. So, I parked there, and I just, I rolled down all the windows. I think I left one of my car doors open. Again, I'm not in any kind of shape to even be taking care of myself. And I park in this parking lot, and I fall asleep. And when I woke up in the morning, the parking lot was still empty, and the sun was coming up. So I'm in this completely empty parking lot. I know I was on my way to... Oh, where was I going then? I know this. It's a little place in southern New Mexico. Beautiful little town. Like... And now I can't remember where it was. But anyway, so I'm on my way there, and, but I park there, and I get out of my car, and the sun's coming up, and it was just gorgeous. The overlook from the parking lot was just this gorgeous scene of this lake, and the sun's coming up on it, and I'm all alone, and I just realized, for the first time in my life, I realized that as a human being, at least in the country I'm in, and in the state I was in at the time, that I was completely free. That if I had just walked away, like there would be nobody to stop me. There would be no way anybody could find me. That I could have just gone wherever I wanted. That there was nothing. I had no... That I could abandon everything. And not that I was going to, but that I could. And that if I had wanted to, after that, at that moment, if what I wanted to do was go somewhere else, anywhere else, Oregon, Mexico, I could have. Maybe not Mexico. Mexico probably would have been a little harder for me than Oregon. And for me, that was enormous. It was enormous. I mean, it changed me. It fundamentally, it was a different kind of addiction for me. Feeling that feeling. That feeling of like ultimate, that there were no, that ultimate feeling of there being no safety lines. Like, that everything in my life was unfamiliar, but that I was in complete control of my choices involving that unfamiliarity. And I'm still kind of addicted to it. I still think it's one of the greatest feelings a human being can feel. Is that feeling that they are absolutely 100% in control of their destiny. I'm not saying that it's a genuine feeling. And clearly we're all, we all live in a place of, where relationships and factors control and influence who we are, and free will is tempered by the choices we've already made and all those things. But that feeling of being absolutely like able to make any choice and go any place is, to me, a magical and spiritual thing. And like I said, the first taste I got of it was probably not healthy for me. And by probably not, I mean... Well, I mean, it influenced my entire life later. I mean, and it didn't... Luckily, it didn't influence my life for the worse. I mean, I was way more responsible in that addiction than I was in my other one. And maybe there's some poetic kind of irony there. That a person who was kind of such a slave to their own, you know, personal demons could be so hooked on the opposite of that. But it's a fact. I think I need like a map-o-matic or something for this. At this point. See where I haven't been. I think we're probably going to call this. I'll have to come back for these later. And maybe do a post-commentary video of it. Because we've had a good talk, but we're getting to the point where I just don't see this becoming more productive. I'm pretty sure that those... I do need to go this way, though, because I think... Oh, well. No, I've been here. I knocked down some of those. I mean, it should be noted that those guys being alive is a pretty good indicator that I'm in reasonably unfamiliar territory. No, don't want to do that. Don't want to go back into that area. Yeah, I mean, it's something. It's... You think what you want about the way I've lived my life, I guess. It's not... I'm not really submitting for your approval or anything. I made the choices I made, and some of them were great, and some of them were bad. I have an amazing set of wonderful experiences and stories, especially for a man my age. And I don't regret a moment of that. I also have made a lot of mistakes. I want to go up, I think. I've made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot of hard lessons. And, ideally, you will not go through that. When I talk about drug and alcohol addiction, the lesson you should take away is that well, I don't know what to say about those things. I really don't. Maybe next video, because it's not where I wanted to go. Because frankly, it's not I don't want to say it's a touchy subject. It's not a touchy subject. It's just an involved one that I have very powerful emotions about. So now apparently it's the N60 Hurricane is what we're running with right here. But I think I found an area I haven't played around in. Yeah, like this guy's new. We obviously haven't dealt with that guy yet. Alright. Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna keep doing this, so. I suppose I do have some time to talk about addiction. But again, next video. What? The battery for this controller cannot, in fact, be low. Alright, well that's interesting. Just a second, and hopefully we can do this. Okay, before we do anything else, let's do this. Alright, when we come back, I will have switched to my hardwired controller. Bye, everybody.